Hey y'all, today's video will be the start of a new series on my channel called Crockpot Cooking. Today's video will be how to achieve this delicious crockpot chicken and dumplings. For this recipe, these are the ingredients that you'll need. I have 2 large chicken breasts, a mirepoix, which is celery, carrots, onions. I have black pepper, some cream of chicken soup mix, chicken broth, garlic, Cajun seasoning, biscuits, onion, black pepper, and some poultry seasoning. I've already washed and cleaned my chicken, so I'm just going to add the chicken breast into a crock pot, and I'm just going to season everything as is in one pan. I'm going to take the poultry seasoning, garlic powder. I'm going to use the Cajun seasoning, the black pepper, the white pepper, and I'm going to liberally just season my chicken. So this will be the start of flavor for the soup pretty much. Now I'm taking my tongs and I'm just going to toss those around in all of the seasonings just to make sure that both sides are thoroughly coated. And now I'm going to go in with my can of chicken broth. I'm going to go in next with the can of Campbell's chicken soup. This is a cream of chicken. I'm just going to empty out the whole can. To ensure that nothing goes to waste, I am now going to add some water into the same can just to make sure that the excess soup gets added into the mix as well. Now I'm going to go in my mirepoix, which is French, and it is the base for all cooking. It is onions, carrots, and celery for most soups, stocks, sauces, stuff like that. You feel me? So now I'm going to mix that all up and just going to give it a good stir. And now I'm just going to add on my lid, and we're going to let this simmer for 2 to 3 hours on high and probably 4 hours on low, just until your chicken is cooked and you can shred the chicken breast all the way. So that's just the goal for right here. Now I'm just going to remove my top. We're going to check that everything is good. Chicken is thoroughly cooked. Not too dry, a little bit juicy. I started shredding with 2 forks in the crock pot, but then I moved it to a different surface to shred to make it a little bit easier upon myself. So now I'm just going to take the shredded meat and add it back into the broth, and I'm going to do the same with the next chicken breast. I didn't originally add this to the ingredient list in the beginning, but I am going to add about a half a cup of frozen peas into the mix just to make it a little bit more soupier. Can't never go wrong with adding a little bit more veggies. I'm adding a little bit more spices because I'm able to taste the broth now that the chicken is cooked. And just season to taste. I feel like these is one of the key ingredients for my chicken pot pie that's so good. I add rosemary and thyme into it, and it just gives it a whole different flavor profile. It kind of enhances the taste of just your average chicken noodle soup or chicken and dumplings, chicken pot pie. And I added a little bit of salt into the mix. So next I'm going to go ahead and handle my dough, which is the buttermilk biscuit dough that I just got out of the little refrigerated section at the grocery store. I got what they had. These are smaller than Grand's biscuits, probably half the size, so I just cut them in half. But later on in this recipe, I took the second pack of biscuits. I needed 3 packs of biscuits for this recipe. I only added 2 on camera, but I added some later on. And then I only have some of them, and I cut some of them into fourths. So some are big pieces, some little pieces. I prefer the consistency of the smaller dumplings to the bigger dumplings, but you'll see that as they cook in this video. Stay tuned. So now I'm just going to go ahead and form a layer of biscuit dough on top of our broth that has been cooking. Your broth has to be hot and steamy for this to cook properly. And once I have the full layer of all of my dough pieces on top of the broth, you do not stir. Don't do it. Just put your top on, let it cook for another 45 minutes to an hour, and we are going to come back and check on it. Now you can see that our biscuit dough is kind of more cooked than it was before. You feel me? I'm just testing out with the spoon to make sure that it's cooked before I break the seal. But now I'm going to thoroughly immerse all of the dumpling pieces into the broth because it's cooked. It's not going to break apart and become all weird and yucky now. So that's why you have to let them steam a little bit before you cook them all the way in the broth. So I'm giving everything a good stir, thoroughly combining everything. Some of the pieces got some browning on them from being stuck to the side, but that's cool. Add a little crisp to it. And now I'm going to let this simmer for about 30 more minutes. And now I'm going to get ready to plate or bowl it, whatever. Once immerging all of the dumplings into the broth, I just took one of the larger dumplings, put it on the cutting board, and took a knife and sliced it down the middle just to thoroughly ensure that it is cooked all of the way and to show you what the interior texture of it was. It was like fluffy, like a biscuit. And that's how you know that they're done. So now I'm just going to go ahead and prepare to serve my chicken and dumplings. Just going to scoop a few spoonfuls into the bowl and get a spoon. And there you have it, guys. Easy chicken and dumplings. I somewhat combined it with my favorite chicken noodle soup meal and had the veggies in it. But, I mean, it could never hurt anybody. If you don't want the veggies and use the same recipe, just omit the veggies and you'll have simple chicken and dumplings. I love this recipe. It turned out so good. And I hope you guys enjoy it and try it out for your families. If you do, please let me know in the comments below. Peace.